anybody who's even the tiniest bit on the fence, or anybody who maybe knows they want to go into whatever field, but also has another interest, whatever it is. Maybe it's music, maybe it's, you know, who knows, working in a restaurant even for a year, you know? I just don't think you lose anything by taking off time. And by taking off time, I don't mean like go sitting down on your couch for a year, but going and pursuing some other interest or working, just getting out in the real world for a little while. So I took a pretty non-traditional route. Like I said, actually went to law school after undergraduate, and then I worked for almost 3 years in DC, and I really liked it, but I missed doing research. Like one of the things I really liked about psychology was that you answer questions empirically, you actually test them, and I really missed that. So I thought, you know, I'm not sure I want to be a lawyer forever. What would really interest me? And I applied to a few programs around the country that did psychology and law. So I do use my experience in law, but I'm really excited to be basically doing research again. I thought that my experience as a graduate student would be spending 25 hours a week entering data. And there definitely is some of that. Like, there is some nitty-gritty stuff that you just have to do. Sometimes you have to enter data, you have to, you know, run some participants and do some, you know, nitty-gritty kind of boring stuff. But the pleasant surprise is it's a whole lot of creativity, it's a whole lot of value put on just thinking, reading, and thinking about what does this mean, what questions are unanswered, what would be a really interesting study to design to answer some question. So I think I didn't realize how fun it would be, which is good. It is a lot of work, don't get me wrong, but it's much more fun and creative than I thought it would be. I mean, you have to be willing to work a ton. You have to be willing to be really independent. Unlike a job where you go in maybe 9 to 5 or whatever your hours are, and it's really clear what you need to do when. When you're a graduate student, nobody's looking over your shoulder. You could do very little if you wanted, but then you would be very unsuccessful. So you really need to be passionate in what you're studying, or passionate about what you're studying, and willing to work hard on your own, because nobody is going to be there looking over your shoulder, making sure you're doing it. It's also probably not a job for people who are super social, because there is a lot of like just reading and writing time. It's probably not a job, at least within psychology, for people who don't, you know, like the pieces. Like, there is math involved, there's a lot of writing involved. So if you don't like those little pieces of things, it could be hard for you. That said, like, I don't love every piece. Like, I don't love the statistics piece, but you just suck it up and do it. 2 pieces of advice would probably be, if you can, work in a lab. Get to know graduate students. Get an idea of what it's like to be a graduate student in whatever area you're interested in by being in the lab. You know, most of RAs probably spend at least 5, usually 7 or 8 hours a week around us. So they get to see what we do and what it's like in the lab. And the other piece would be, you know, really think about what you like enough that you're willing to work really hard at it. Like, don't go to grad school just because it seems like the easy next step, or because your mom thinks you should do it, or because you have good grades, so I guess I'll do it. Really think about what interests you. Take some time off if you need to or want to, because you're not going to do well unless you really are interested in it, because you have to be self-motivated to do well.